on Tuesday.
I'm going to bottle service. I'm going to get some hose.
Yeah.
That was the old me, right? Let's go to Vixens. No, I'm not doing that.
This is the Leo Clamaco podcast.
To Wuhan.
You went?
I've been to Wuhan. I was there April 2019.
Do they give laboratory tours?
Let's just start it like this. Let's keep talking. Yeah. No, so actually, I was there for a mastermind.
Wow.
Yeah.
For
I flew.
IT?
I flew to Bali. That was my final destination. Okay. It was a mastermind that I was a part of since 2015, called the Secret Society Mastermind. It was a bunch of entrepreneurs teaching guys how to work off of their laptop. So my flight was JFK, Wuhan, and then Wuhan, Bali.
Oh,
That was my flight.
that's kind of a weird one.
It was. So I was in Wuhan for like 10 hours for a layover.
Did you fall asleep in the airport and then wake
For
up
sure.
feeling funny?
Nowhere funny, but I was definitely asleep in the airport.
You're missing an organ when you wake up?
On the way back, I had to go to 2 different cities in China. Because of that, on my first city, on my first stop, they had to give me a 3-day visa. Because technically, I'd be in the country for so long, I could leave the airport. So they took my passport for like 5 hours in China.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Were you just like thinking,
I was
I don't speak this language?
flipping out. First of all, it took me 30 minutes to find the right person to go speak to.
Mm-hmm.
They pointed me there, they pointed me there, they pointed me back there, they pointed me over here. Next thing you know, I'm finally on the right line. They just take my passport, don't say a word. I get it back almost 5 hours later.
They just told you sit down and
Sit down, exactly, and shut up.
My dad did eyeglass manufacturing in China for 30 plus years, and he used to go out there all the time. And I remember he came home one time, and the first thing he said to me was like, never go to China. He was like so culture shocked because like
It's crazy.
he mentioned the first thing that he told me, he was like, you don't even know what you're eating. He's like,
Facts.
you have no idea what you're putting in your body, but you're so hungry, you just eat it.
Could be a dog, could be a
You have
cat.
no clue.
You have no idea.
Yeah, but I'm sure
They'll tell you it's chicken though.
Yeah, I'm sure nowadays it's, because so many people speak English now and like things
Right.
are, developing more. But yeah, back then it was like the wild, wild west, like nobody was speaking English back then.
That's crazy.
So
Welcome to another episode of the Leo Clamaco podcast. I'm your host, Leo. Today we have Brett William Fick. He's a franchise expert, athlete, health, fitness, mindset, and lifestyle coach. Brett, welcome to the show.
hey man, thank you for having me.
No problem,
When
man.
hearing you say all these things, I'm like thinking, damn man, maybe I'm doing too many things now. But there's that saying, they say like a jack of all trades is a master of none or whatever. But
Do you believe in that? I'm not sure if I believe in that.
I don't, because in my years of franchising, so let me first explain kind of my background. So I've been in the franchise space 10 years now.
Wow.
I originally was in business development in the auto industry, and I saw a friend of mine get a $30,000 paycheck, and I looked at him and I said, I don't think you're smarter than me. I could do this too. So I interviewed twice for a franchise called Chem Dry Carpet Cleaning, and they originally hired 2 people with franchise experience. That was like the key to entry to get into the industry.
Right.
And I saw the guy at lunch who had interviewed me, and I looked him in the eye and I'm like, hey, how are those other people doing? And he's like, and he couldn't even look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Yeah. And so I said to him, listen, I can promise you one thing. There's attributes that I have that will work really well in this industry. And the first being is that I'm going to be the hardest worker in that building. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be an avid learner of everything that you teach me and absorb as much information for people around me that they can present to me. And he's like, listen, I actually am, letting you know that I'm actually firing someone tomorrow and there's going to be another opening and I want you to start tomorrow. And I was like, whoa, here we go. So I didn't.
You sold yourself well.
Yeah, man. That's the one thing I tell a lot of my clients that I work with. I'm like, be a believer in you, man. If you don't believe in yourself, who else is going to believe in you? Nobody. I mean, you're projecting around you,
Right.
this energy, like
100%.
people that don't believe that's out there, the energies, and like people like in our own minds, we sense that around people. Like I've been around people and I'm just like, this person throws me off. I don't want to be around that person
Low
anymore.
vibrational.
Yeah, that low vibrational stuff. I don't like that. High
Yeah.
frequencies. I love that.
100%.
You know, one of my friends always says you got to tune the tuner to the right channel with certain people, right?
Yes.
But so I started out, you know, I was scared shitless. I didn't sell a franchise for 4 months.
Really?
Yeah, my 4th month, I finally opened one in a 2-pack, 2 locations in Toronto, Canada. And I felt like this sense of relief. I was like, oh my gosh, like I was at first like thinking I made a huge mistake. You know, I started to
Right.
doubt myself a little bit. I ended up opening more franchises in the next 8 months than anybody in the whole company. And then I went on the next year to break the company record, a 40-year record in franchise development. So
Wow.
that was the
What do you
start.
think flipped for you after that first one?
Well, I got to tell you, you know, so I'm a sober guy, and I always would do things hardcore. Like, and back then I was, if I wanted to, you know, live the lifestyle of the rich and famous, I knew I had to make a bunch of money. So there was
Right.
always something driving me. And back then it was money. Now that I'm sober and I've got my head to me and I don't really look at the world the same, I'm not as materialistic and things like that. I mean, I was real young. I was like a 25-year-old kid back then. And I just feel like what was the main motivator for me was I wanted to be the richest guy in the city who could buy the bottles and do all this stuff. You know, I'm like, yeah, man, if you're still out there doing that stuff, that's fine.
Right.
And I see guys that are like in their 50s still doing that kind of stuff. But it's like, you know, I don't know people's past. I don't judge people. I
Right.
just know for me, that's not who I am now because I learned that that person that I was trying to be was not a leader. And that for me was the no-go, right? So I looked at myself one day in the mirror. I was like, hey man, what happened to you? You know, I used to be this athlete, you know, I played Division I baseball. Um, you know, I probably could have went pro and said, you know, I'm just gonna work. And I gave up on my hopes and dreams of being a Major League Baseball player. All my uncles and cousins were Major League Baseball players,
Really?
and my uncle Chuck was the head scout for the Cardinals and Giants for many years, won 3 World Series rings. Like my uncle Robert played 10 years in the major leagues for the Padres, the Nationals, the Tigers, the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, like the Atlanta
Wow.
Braves. I mean, I had a really cool upbringing in my life around sports, and I think that contributed a lot. You know, being
Yeah,
being
it
a
definitely
leader,
helps.
learning from coaches and stuff my whole life, like, hey, be the captain, things like that. Like, but man, I got to tell you, I strayed really far from that for 10 years of my life, from when I was like 23 to 33. No, I'd say 21 to 31.
What? Why do you think you gave up on your dream of being a baseball player?
I started to doubt myself, right? Like I was thinking, well, I'm not as big as some of these guys. I'm not as fast. I had an arm injury. I had surgery from it. I tried to come back. I blew it out a second time.
Wow.
And I was thinking, that's it, man. Because you hear stories, right?
Right.
Of other people saying, well, I had a surgery and then I came back and I got
Were you a
hurt
pitcher?
again. I was a pitcher and a hitter. I was a dual
Got it.
player. So when I got sober at 31, I said, you know what? I'm going to play baseball again. And all these people were like, it's a little late, buddy. You know, I'm like, well, I don't care anymore. I have nothing to lose.
Right.
So I'm going to try it. So I said, I'm going to get in shape. So over the next 2 years, I just hit the gym. And then I met a roommate of mine that was living with me at the time. I was trying to help a buddy of mine out. He was struggling. He was in the program as well. You know, we're AA guys. And
Right.
he was like trying to get back on his feet after a couple relapses and stuff and get his baby mama back and his kids. He had like a 1 and a 3-year-old at the time, or 2 and a 4-year-old. And I'm like, hey man, come live with me. But this guy was a monster, man. He was so big and he was in such good shape. And I would watch him eat and how he would exercise. And, you know, he was a trainer. And I was like, man, I'm just so obsessed with learning. How did you become this person? You know, and a lot of people instantly think like, oh, did you just do steroids or something? It's like,
Right.
no, man. I'll say the most important thing I've learned in that aspect of my life is you have to know your body, right? So the first thing I did was I went and got blood work done.
Okay.
It was a mess. I was a disaster. And I was like, you know, where do I go from here? So I got on the TRT, instantly felt better. My hormones were super down, like super
love
messed up.
TRT.
Yeah, TRT.
I've been on it for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, I actually got off recently just to take a break because I had
Did
a
you?
little bit of insulin resistance going
Yep.
on. But
Okay.
yeah, the whole
Did you feel a dip
dip in what, like
in like energy, like?
yeah, for sure, a little bit, you know. But I I got back. I'm good. You know,
Okay.
my doctor's been kind of putting me on a program to get my natural flow going. But,
Cool.
you know, I recommend to people, I'm like, listen, if you're, you know, in your 30s and you're above 500, like you don't need TRT. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
but if you want to be an optimal athlete, right? So I was probably staying around 1,000 when I first got on. And, you know, I cut fat, man. I worked out every day. So I don't want to shuck the work and say, oh, the TRT is what did it.
No, 100%. You got to go to the gym.
People that know
It's
me,
part of it, but it's not everything.
yeah, it's part of it in terms of like the energy and the motivation.
Right.
But you still got to get your ass off the couch and, you know, get out of bed early and go late at night when you don't want to go. Like there's a lot of times when I would tell myself, I don't want to go. And I would talk to myself internally and say, you know, fuck you. I'm going to go.
You got to
Yeah,
go.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So I went like for like 8 months straight and I barely missed a day. And I was obsessed. And just like in business, right? When I was selling franchises, I just became obsessed, but I was obsessed with the wrong thing. I was obsessed with the
Right.
money, not the process. So I got a good friend of mine. His name's Ryan Zofe. He's $100 million producer below under 40 years old.
Nice.
And yeah, this guy's a local guy here in the Delray Boca area. And he always says, become obsessed with the process, not the end goal.
For
And,
sure.
So I started taking that in my life recently. And, you know, I went every day. I was just listening to people like Kai Green, professional bodybuilder, you know, super famous guys working
Yep.
out right next to me in this gym at
Really?
Redcon in Boca Raton. And, so I'm learning from these people, you know, and I was real nervous in the beginning because I was a schlop, man. I did not look good. You know, I used to do like the workout classes, you know, with the chicks and the guys all together and stuff. And, you know, like try and do all these like, you know, HIIT workouts and stuff. But, you know, if you really want to get jacked and you want to be ripped, you got to do weightlifting, man. You can't just be doing cardio stuff.
No,
or,
I agree. You got to
like,
lift hard weights.
You got to lift hard.
You got to eat properly too.
And the diet's probably like 80% of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I started to walk into rooms and I knew it was working because people that knew the old me wouldn't even recognize me.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, hey, man, are you Brett? I'm like, yeah. They're like, man, I haven't seen you in a long time, but you look really good. And I was like thinking, wow, this is crazy. Like I can't.
Feels good too.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, I was like 245 pounds when I first, you know, decided to get on the fitness program, and I dropped down to about $190, and then I bulked up to like 230.
Wow.
And, you know, when I said I walked into rooms and people like, I would have people double take. They'd be like, no. They're like, because I grew out the hair.
Right.
I got the tattoos, you know, and then I started to realize that the rest of my life, like the business stuff, was all getting better. All boats
It
rise.
all aligns.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All boats rise with the tide, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And the tide is you, right? Your motivation. Like, are you going to do these things and go out and actually take the time and energy? Because those are the two assets people don't want to like waste.
Right.
Like as a business guy, right? The only thing that's more important than money, right? If you have, I tell my franchise clients, like, listen, you can be
Sometimes
super
time
rich,
is more important than money.
way more, especially if you have like a family or something.
For sure.
I don't have that yet, so I'm not really going to be able to like say anything about that.
Married with 2 kids.
Yeah, that's probably, you could tell me more than I could tell you, right? So I do plan on having kids though, you know, and that was another reason why I decided to take the journey, because I was like, man, I got to get sober, because what woman is going to want to be with this version of me?
Right.
I wouldn't even date myself. I felt bad for the women I dated. I was like, I'm so sorry you have to deal with me. Yeah, I was lying, cheating, stealing, piece of shit, man. And it's very humbling when you look at yourself one day and just go, yeah, man, this ain't it. Like,
on that note, talk to me about your rock bottom. When you realized that there's no deeper that you can go. You've gone the deepest. Now you got to climb yourself out of this. How was that for you?
You want to hear the night that I knew?
Please.
When I woke up the next day?
Yes.
So I was partying on Halloween. This was like 2019.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
Yeah.
I got sober the days I walked into AA to get sober. 7 days later, it shut down because of COVID.
Oh my goodness.
So I got sober mostly on Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. But the night that I realized, or the next day that I realized, I was out partying at my local bar, a place where I just wasted so much money, like,
and time.
if you only knew the millions of dollars I've made over my career that I have just completely blown through partying with drinking, drugging, travel,
Wow.
women, all these things. And I'm saying this because I want other men out there to realize like, hey man, in the future, you might not make as much money and you should have saved that money. Like I'm very
Yeah.
blessed to say my career has allowed me to progress to new roles and new heights when
Right.
it comes to earnings. But you know,
And that shit's not everything.
it's not, no,
You know?
it's not.
Like, yeah, it's fun a couple of times, but you do it consistently over and over, it gets draining.
And that's how the drinking and drugging felt for me. You know, the drinking, it was drinking, then it was dabbling with drugs. And it was
Right.
like, man, dude, I got a bag of blow in my pocket. Who am I?
Right.
What am I doing? I just ate a bunch of Molly. So that Halloween night, this guy hands me a bunch of Molly and it was I guess it was for like a bunch of people. And I
Right.
just myself, and he's like, and he turned around, he's like, did you just eat all that? I'm like,
How many did you eat?
I mean, it was just like the rock version. So I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was like playing with fire, man, for sure.
Literally.
So I
Were you
woke up.
tripping balls all fucking night?
So I was dressed in the Cats outfit, you know, like the
Oh, man.
Broadway,
Yes.
you know, I had a whole face on with prosthetic nose. People couldn't
No
even recognize who
way.
I was until I was like, hey, it's Brett. And they're like, what the hell? Like, this guy's insane, you know? I'm pounding tequila after. I wake up the next day. I don't even remember how I got home. There's a note on my chest from the Uber driver. I have no makeup on, no outfit. I'm in pajamas. And it says,
Wow.
I hope you wake up. You need to get help. Praying for you.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, whoa. Like the
What a moment.
deepest pain in my heart I've ever felt. I didn't know whether to be
Wow.
embarrassed, scared, upset, like just the plethora of emotions just pouring into my soul.
Did this person like change you and like put you in bed and like
Showered me. A stranger.
wow.
And you know, the dickhead me didn't even think to go on the app and like contact Uber to thank them. And like, I should have gave this person like at least like, you know, a thank you card with like
Sure.
something. I had no wallet. They found my wallet on Clematis somewhere in West Palm.
Wow.
I had credit card charges from like 40 miles west of downtown West Palm. I wound up at a bar somewhere like way out. There was like security footage of people like trying to like fight me basically, like because I was such an idiot. Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. Like I called the bars. I'm like, hey, I think I left the card there. They're like, yeah, we know who the fuck you are. I'm like, cancel the card. Never mind.
Wow.
Bye. Whoops. Yeah.
You're lucky to be alive.
I was, man. Yeah. I ran it hard
in
for
so many
years.
different ways.
Yep. So even when I was selling franchises in
Wow.
Nashville, right? I was partying hard. I was in peak Nashville. And this was when like the music scene was just getting going. Like people started to finally like country music, like the
Yes.
Sam Hunt, you know, era
Yep.
and all these things. But dude, I used to go to these bars and party
Like
with all
Dixie
these
Chicks
guys.
and
No, this is
No,
after that.
after
After
that.
that. Like Kane Brown wasn't even big yet.
Got
Dude,
you.
he was sleeping on my couch.
Really?
Yeah, man, I was getting dudes into bars that weren't even 21 yet. I was like, oh yeah, I know the bouncers. Come on. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I was the cool guy. You know what I mean? Like that was me. But I was also getting super fat. I had no like, I don't even know how to say this. I had this projected person that I thought I was in my own mind.
Right.
And then I would look in the mirror and be like, dude, you are a schlop.
It didn't match.
So I never wanted to look in the mirror because it didn't match the person I was pretending to be.
Wow.
And that day after I woke up and
This is who you thought you were, who
Yeah.
you are right now.
yeah, and then so the person I am now, it's kind of weird because I still see myself as that old guy sometimes. And it's so toxic for me, but it's also the bottom is the humble reminder of how I can't go back to that person. Right. So I never can go back to that. I've made so much progress. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, can't you have just one drink or something? It's not about that.
Right.
To me, it's about like, I've already separated myself from a life that I used to live and that involved drinking and drugging and all this stuff where
It will do you no good.
it just doesn't even make me feel like I would even enjoy it.
Right.
What's the point of doing something if you're going to be upset with yourself every time you do it? I already abused that part of my life. There's certain people that are built to actually drink and party and control themselves. And like, I'm not that guy. I have to admit that every day to myself. You're not that guy. Hey, you may be good at other things, but there's certain things in life you're not going to be very good at. And I'm definitely not good at that.
I've always been that guy where I can go drink and handle my drink and even like be like the designated driver at the end.
Yeah.
Like I've blacked out once where I really let myself go. And I just like, no, never again.
So that's part of the reason why I'm so good at what I do now with the people in the franchise world, because I keep the human aspect so real with them. The industry that I'm in, you know, there's all these people out there that are trying to figure out what their next life move is going to be.
What do you sell?
So right now I'm doing Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority are my two main brands. And then I have
Okay.
a third brand called Fitness Machine Technicians.
Got it.
And
So these are the first two are what? Like
the
pest control?
pest control, mosquito, tick and fly control, misting systems. And then we have a full pest arm as well. We kind of sister brand them together, put them under one truck with a dual wrap. And, you know, they go out and do like a all-in-one home package for the consumers.
Got it.
The number one thing that I hear from people though, out of their mouth when I talk to them is fear. People are so scared to break that mold that they've always lived in.
They are.
When I tell them
Change
my
is scary
story,
for a lot of people.
it's the number one fear is change by far.
Yeah.
I tell them if you have a 95% success rate in franchising, are you a 5%er? No. Then what are you scared for? You think you're just going to fall on your face? Let's think about bankruptcy, right?
Right.
If you file for an SBA loan,
Mm-hmm.
if you keep it under $150,000, the government actually will let you put only 10% down, 15 grand. So your cash out of pocket. If you've already become a person in America that has 15 grand to invest in something freely, like it means nothing to you,
Right.
you're already successful.
I agree.
So what are you so scared for, right? Oh, bankruptcy, right? They're not going to tie any personal assets to these loans. It's non-collateralized. It's an amazing program. That's why you see so many franchises out there. But these people like just have that B word stuck in the back of their mind. Well, bankruptcy. All right. Let's say by the time you're, 50, let's minus the first 21 years of your life.
Right.
You still have
Is that
4
the
more
average
rounds.
age of your clientele?
It's about 50 years old.
Yeah.
But let's say you're someone young out there watching it going, well, I have 15 grand, but I don't know if maybe I should build up. Go for it earlier before you have too much going on in your life, especially
Right.
kids, the mortgage, all that stuff. If you're 21 and you start a business, you end up filing bankruptcy, you can try again when you're 28. And then again when you're 35 35. And then again when you're 42. By the time you're 49, there's 4 rounds of bankruptcies. You could already have 4 attempts. If you can't make one of them work in those 4, I mean, God bless. You shouldn't be in business anyways, right? But, and the other thing about failure, if you do fail, it's like, that's going to teach you the most valuable life lessons. And it's proven, right? The people that fail the most in business end up becoming the most successful, right? You look at any of these guys that have started a bunch of businesses, like,
Yep.
I think it was like Alex Hormozy or one of these guys was like, yeah, on my 10th business, I finally succeeded. And like, it was like $100 million business or something crazy. I'm like, wow, I wish more people could hear that. So I've started a bunch of businesses, micro little businesses, and oh man, I've failed miserably in a bunch
Same.
of them, a lot.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot too. And I get to be able to share these stories with people and my background story about success, right? Like
Right.
the thing about America right now is how many people are just so unhealthy.
More than half.
Why are they so unhealthy?
Because our food sucks.
It's diet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you eat a good diet? What does it take?
It takes money, but it also takes dedication.
Discipline, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So
Because you have to choose to pick that salad over that burger.
and there's a science behind it. So you need education.
Yeah.
There's no one to educate you, right? People could watch YouTube. They've got Google. There's books, anything.
Right.
They just are lazy. They don't want to do it. Laziness is why America is so unhealthy. It's lazy.
There's no incentive to be healthy.
Mm-mm.
You know?
I tell
There's-
my online fitness clients, the ones I do the fitness consulting and mindset coaching, if I gave you a shopping plan and I told you I'd save you $300 a month just in your shopping. Would you pay me $300 a month and still have the same amount of money in your bank account? Most of them are like, still like, no, I can't afford $300 a month. I'm like, all right, well, why
Did
don't
you not hear what I just said?
Yeah, why don't you just do it on your own then? I always ask the question because I'm like, well, why haven't you done it then?
Right.
What's holding you back? And it always comes back to, an excuse. Everyone has an excuse for something. And
So what's going to be the difference by working with you? You know what I mean? If you're not going to commit anyway.
so I'm like, I'm not like one of those like guys that's like, don't be a bitch. And, like, but I'm pretty hard on some of my clients. I'm like, listen,
You
I was
have some
like,
tough love.
yeah, man. Like, hey, you hired me so I can give you that tough love.
Right.
Right. And, I'm busy during the day and stuff. I tell people, I'm like, listen, I'm going to guide you. I'm going to be there to support you. I'm going to follow up with you on certain times and tell you you're messing up. Like, I've got clients that are going through some crazy stuff in their lives, but they're super grateful when we have these conversations and I can share the knowledge to them of the things that I've learned. Because again, the jack of all trades thing, I look at what I can provide to people and value now. I consider myself a 1%er. So 99 out of 100 people out there, I have something of value I can give them. I never try and, project that to people that I know are above me.
Right.
But those very, and I don't look at it in terms necessarily of just like monetary, like you said, because I know a lot of millionaire men that wish they look like me.
100%.
I know a lot of millionaire men that are mentally weak, super weak.
I interviewed a 22-year-old multimillionaire, right? Like he has a lot of money, but I have way more wisdom and life experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can be 22 and stumble onto money. It can happen.
Yeah.
Right? You can learn how to sell, learn how to market, and you can make some money. It doesn't make you any wiser than anybody else,
Yeah. Yeah. I've met some of these young kids that have made a lot of money in their lives, and it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to grow faster because of it.
No. Or be great humans.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Sometimes
me.
they're shittier humans.
I mean, I was 24 years old making $250,000 a year. I thought I was on top of the world.
Oh, I could imagine.
So by the way, when I went back to play baseball, I ended up doing pretty well. I hit 22 home runs in 1 year playing down here in South Florida. I played on a travel team. We'd play, and the guys that play down here are incredible.
That's awesome.
Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans. These guys are monsters.
Beasts.
Some of these older guys are still throwing like mid 90s.
Really?
Yeah, man, they're good, real good. So I was posting videos of me hitting home runs, and I got contacted by a team, the Savannah Bananas. They're like the biggest sports team in the world now. They've got like millions and millions of followers on TikTok and YouTube. Yeah, and I remember I got the call. I drove up there like 6 hours to go play a game, and I just remember this feeling. It was so surreal. The accomplishment was there because I finally did it. I walked out on this field, I looked around, and it was a sold out crowd. And there was little kids like screaming, "Hey, sign an autograph for me."
That's awesome.
And that childhood dream of being a pro baseball player instantly was fulfilled. Even just the one game, right?
Right.
The coolest experience. It's God-given, right?
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, there's people that came out of the woodworks after seeing things like that happen to me, right? And people that used to be total haters on me, even kids that used to bully me. I got bullied. I was really skinny growing up as a kid. I was tiny. Kids used to punk me, bully me all the time. And that was part of the reason why I learned to be resilient, because as a kid, some of the days I'd come home, my mom would just catch me crying because I was so upset, because I wanted to be a good kid. I never wanted to be a fighter.
Right.
It was like more like a force thing for me, like fight to survive. But like, I just wanted to focus on being a student and being an athlete, because my roadmap was be a Major League Baseball player. Your uncles did it. It's in your blood. Why can't you?
Right.
I had a better arm than all of them. I was throwing gas. Oh yeah. Every year in Little League, first overall pick, Brett Fick, every year.
Wow.
Yeah. Whether I was the young kid or the old kid in the age bracket.
That's
didn't even
crazy.
matter. Yeah. And I was an All-American in outfield in junior college, went to UC Santa Barbara, got in a car accident my first year. Oh, you want to talk about overcoming? The coach hated me. I got caught smoking weed. Again, drugs ruining my life. I got caught smoking weed, kicked off a summer ball team.
Was that when you injured your shoulder in that car accident?
That was my first year at UC Santa Barbara. I was riding a bicycle, a fixie. I went to go down a hill. A gardener pulled out of the driveway. I turned. I don't know whether the ladder hit me in the head or I just turned and the bike just lost control. I woke up in the middle of the road. I went to get up. Oh, my whole shoulder sunk down.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a crater indented on the top of the ball of the bone in my arm up here, humerus or whatever they call it. Yeah. And so they went in, I had, to the doctor, and they're like, listen, you've got a big type 3 AC separation. You might never play baseball again. And I'm just like devastated, right? I'm thinking, oh my God. So I went back to school and I actually rehabbed my arm and I started playing again, but they're like, hey man, we want you to redshirt, blah, blah, blah. Then it was, hey, we want you to transfer out of here. Cause I had a full scholarship and they were like, they took my scholarship down to 60% when I got caught smoking weed. And yeah, so I lost a lot of, I'm still paying those bills from that dumb mistake I made.
That's crazy.
Yep. But I went to Hawaii one summer. I said, no, I'm not going to transfer. And they're like, well, where do you want to play summer ball? I said, I want to go to the league in Hawaii. And they're like, well, you're a super senior and that league's for freshmen. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'll be a player coach if I have to. I don't care. So they send me out there. The guy that owned it was the owner of Mauna Loa Macadamia Nuts, like massive company. He's so rich. He put us up in these like hotels with, 2 twin beds. And I had this one kid from my school who was going to be walking onto the baseball team. And like my coach was like, yeah, just be cool with him. He's cool. So we would go surf every day. And I was paddle boarding and I was surfing like on a longboard for like 2 hours a day.
Wow. My
arm became superhuman. I was throwing 95 miles an hour and I became like the best player in the league. And there wasn't just freshmen either. It was like seniors, juniors, all these kids that had played there before. They're like, why wouldn't we want to go live in Honolulu and play baseball for a whole summer? So everyone kept coming back.
That's awesome.
My staff, my coaching staff, they didn't know that. So when they sent me out there, they were like expecting to be all young underclassmen.
Got it.
But it ended up being the best summer of my life. Scouting bureau was there for Major League Baseball. I got, the Toronto Blue Jays wanted to give me a contract to go pro right away.
How old were you?
I was 20 years old. I was about to be, I was 21. I was about to go into my 5th year of college as a super senior.
Got it.
And I was pitching in the league and hitting. I was MVP of the league. And I got back to school.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And they were like, sit down in the office. And I'm like, well, what could be so wrong? Like I just was a star player. And they're like, hey, we sent you out there as a position player. Did you pitch? I'm like, yeah, I pitched. They're like, we didn't send you there for that. I'm like, oh, so you're going to bash me for doing something above and beyond what you sent me there for?
Right.
Like, I was the best player in the league. What do you mean? I led the league in everything. So they were like, all right, well, we heard back all this positive stuff about you pitching. Like, you want to become a pitcher? I hadn't pitched in like 7 years. And this is D1. Big West Conference, some of the best teams in the whole country. Long Beach State, Fullerton, Irvine, UC Santa Barbara. I mean, stacked conference.
Wow.
The best of the best baseball, like Brazil soccer, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get to play out of our 44-game season until halfway through. They finally put me in the game. And I was like, yeah, my arm's hurting today. And they're like, good, you're in. Go figure. Oh, by the way, it's against the #1 team in the country, Oregon State.
Oh boy.
What? I go out, I do good. They don't let me play for like 10 more games. I'm sitting on the bench. We go back to play UCLA on a Tuesday night. Now they're the #1 team in the country. And I'm like, hey, if we get a chance to win this game, I'm pitching. And the coaches looked at me like, I'm like, you guys have blown the last 3 games. That's my turn. And they're like, all right, we'll see. So it's
that confidence.
Dude, this was a big motivator for me the rest of my life. This told me that if I tell myself I can do something, I can.
Right.
I mean, it was a roller coaster for these few years of playing baseball, right? I'm like, my career's over. My career's back. Now my career's over. It was like, it's just so much going all the time with me. Plus adding in partying all the time and just like a wild child, right?
Right.
So
Burn the candle at both ends.
oh, so bad. My dad used to use that line all, oh, you're burning the candle at both ends, son. I'd be like, oh God, here we go. But I got in. I 1, 2, 3, beat UCLA. I got the save.
Really?
The rest of the year, they put me in every time they needed to get the win. And we ended up kicking ass the rest of the year, but it was already too late.
That's awesome.
Coach comes up to me at the end of the year. He's like, hey man, I just want to let you know, I really messed up with you. He's like, I should have believed in you. You know, you were always proving me wrong, and I appreciate
That was big
how hard
of
you
him.
work. Yeah.
That was real big of him.
Yeah. He used to say, I used to see you after every practice. You were the only guy that would stay for 2 hours and hit. And you were a pitcher, and, you know, they would let me hit off the bench, and, you know, if they needed to get, I would get a hit almost every time.
Wow.
Some of the guys on the team were like, dude, I don't get it. How do you do it? I'm like, because I put the work in.
Practice.
So now it's the same in business, right? I read books every day. I listen to podcasts. I'm obsessed with the process of becoming better. I don't even know what the end goal is. It's more like going up, you know, on a roller coaster when you're going up the track in the beginning before the drop.
Yes.
I don't even know where the top is, right? I'm just sitting in there and I'm just
Nor do you care.
doing the process.
Yeah,
I don't really
let's
care.
just keep going.
I don't really care. But all I know is while I'm riding that coaster, because I know the world's going to bring me up and down for the rest of my life. I just expect the suck and the thrills now. I just know the whole purpose of that is to help as many people as I can, because God has blessed me with an opportunity to see these things in my life and experience a lot of these things. And I truly believe that I'm a vessel that has been put on this earth to share those experiences and help other people either avoid the pitfalls or to better themselves and you know, figure out how to become a better human being themselves, and then have them also go and help other people, because I just think we don't have enough of that in this world anymore.
I agree. We're lacking a lot of leadership.
There is, it's not just leadership. It's also, you know, we're lacking empathy. There's not a lot of people out there that give a shit about anyone anymore.
It's true.
Like people say like, oh no, I care. But deep down inside, man, they don't,
Yeah.
you know, and it sucks, because I had to learn that through like sobriety, man. The AA program, they teach you about the 12 steps and the 12 principles.
Right.
If I was someone out there watching this and my life was a disaster, that's a good place to start, man. That's a good place to start. Surround yourself with good people, not be fucking around all the time.
Yep.
You think, how many hours do you lose being hungover in your whole life?
A lot.
A lot. So if you want to get ahead of everyone else in the world around you, you have to have that time.
Eliminate all of that.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, how many Sundays do you think people in this country spend just watching Netflix, sitting in bed and ordering Uber Eats?
Or watching football.
Or football. Oh man, don't even get me started on that. Listen, I'm an athlete. I don't watch baseball though. I don't sit around and watch baseball. I'll play baseball.
Right.
I don't sit around scrolling social media all the time anymore. I use it for business mainly. Every once in a while, you know, if I have nothing to do and I'm kicking my feet up or I'm in the tub, you know, soaking,
Right.
I'll go on there. But like for the most part, like I try to avoid it like the plague.
Yeah.
Because
It's toxic.
that it's sad to say, but it really is. The average like phone time nowadays is like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Whoa. I wonder if they're going to find out like if it causes like real bad cancer or something at some point. Because
Who knows? Everything gives cancer nowadays.
you know, the internet's only been around 25 years now.
That's crazy.
Do you know how many people were internet users in the beginning? Like when it hit, how do I say this? Like Bitcoin just hit, I think it was 17 million, or crypto. I think it was Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit like 17 million people own it.
Okay.
And they were like saying when the internet first started, when it hit 17 million, and now how many people are users on it. I truly believe crypto is going to change the world.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Are you a big crypto guy?
I am. I actually invest 95% of my net worth in crypto.
That much?
I keep
So you're
like
basically all in.
I keep like $5,000 in my checking account, and the rest I put in crypto.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very, very invested. And you
Why?
know, I don't even look, because when I was growing up watching people during the internet craze,
Mm-hmm.
I remember being a kid and watching as I grew up, some of my friends, their parents became extremely rich from buying into like the internet and being a part of the, like just the infrastructure alone.
Right.
Right. So you look at like crypto, you've got DeFi, you've got infrastructure, layer ones, layer twos, ordinals, all these different things that you can be invested in right now.
Yeah.
And people are just sleeping on them, man. Like I
They
heard,
don't see the value.
yeah, I heard Starbucks today started accepting Bitcoin payments in El Salvador, which that's the Bitcoin country, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to make everything there. But I don't know, man. I would rather be wrong about how big it gets than to be wrong by
So
not investing in
paint
it.
me the picture of how crypto takes over.
So it's all about decentralization.
Right.
And governments and fiat money have too much control. Look at what the government is doing to our tax dollars right now. So much money, billions and billions, if not trillions,
Yeah.
outflowing to who knows where.
Printed and wasted.
And there's no way to track it as a normal human. Like as an American, you're like, I don't know. For me, I got taxed over $50,000-$60,000 last year. And I'm thinking to myself, who did I just give free money to? Ukraine?
Yeah.
Palestine? Israel?
Yeah.
Russia? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the American people have lost faith in our government. They're like, I'm out. I don't even want to do this anymore. The US dollar, if our inflation's above 10%, okay, if you have $100 in the bank, you lose $10 a year in
Right.
value. I don't think many Americans understand what inflation means.
No, they don't.
So if you look at anything in the world with inflation, like the value of homes, how much homes have, like our parents, the Gen Xers and all these people are in the boomers, the baby boomers, like, oh, invest in real estate. No, it's like, it's a different game nowadays.
They bought a house for $17,000.
Yeah, I believe in real estate. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I would rather play the game that I know I can play, and not have as much risk. If I have to take all this finance to put into one basket, all my
Right.
eggs are in that basket. Crypto is its own baskets, right? I can diversify into different things.
But do you think the government is going to incorporate Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin just going to be too powerful? It's going to take over and that's going to become money.
So that's what people don't realize. Even if the government said tomorrow, no more, what are you going to do? People have their own computers, Trezor wallets. They've got their own cold wallets. Like they already have their own bank set up. They control their own money. It's all on a network with millions of computers all over the world, communicating with each other, validating transactions on a blockchain. One government can't stop a decentralized blockchain. It's everywhere. People have nodes set up in their cell phones, on computers. I mean, you would have to go find every single one. Good luck.
Or make a sick virus.
Yeah. I mean, not even that, man. I mean, really. I mean,
don't think so?
I don't even think that could. I think because you're talking about going up against an army of nerds. Good luck. Nerds versus nerds, but these nerds are actually invested in this and have a lot of money in it, right? So, and I think people that work for the government that are the nerds, I think they're heavily invested in it too. Because anybody that knows anything about coding, programming,
Right.
they get it. They read these white papers and if you've ever sat down and read a white paper for a project, for a crypto project,
Yep.
if you understand the terminology, it's like, oh my God, yeah, this does have real case value in this world. Why am I still paying all these extra fees with a bank when I can just send something for a minimal fee on the blockchain? These banks are all going out of business. Have you seen that in the
I
news?
have.
Why are they all going out of business?
Monopolies. I believe the bigger banks are just
Not
swallowing them over.
not necessarily. I have a theory on this.
Tell me.
I believe that people are taking money out of their accounts just like I would. Instead of me having $250,000 in my bank, it's now
Right.
in my own decentralized wallet. I'm also earning interest on DeFi platforms way higher than a bank wants to pay me. Now, there is going to be centralized decentralized banking apps. There's also going to be centralized cryptos.
Okay.
So like HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph. Its board has, um, T-Mobile, Boeing, and a bunch of big companies on it.
Okay.
It's on a hash graph technology. It's very similar to blockchain. It just makes more sense for like the corporate world and the government to be able to interact with it.
Right.
Elon Musk is building right now his own network on X that is going to be able to like take care of payments and you can order things through there like groceries and stuff. And there's
Right.
rumors going around that why wouldn't he partner with XRP once they get their legalities cleared? Because it's X and XRP, right? It kind of does make sense. So, there's
I was just going to ask you what you thought of XRP.
XRP is still getting fucked. I mean, I feel bad for them because they're already established in Europe and stuff, and they were one of the OGs of crypto.
Yeah.
They're very fast processing and low transactional cost. Securities wise, really good, but there's so many projects out there that can be, used for so many different cases. When I look at the cryptos, I think it's not, are they going to work? It's which ones are going to work better. There's certain projects that just jump out to me and go, yeah, that one makes sense.
Do you put Bitcoin in crypto, or is it all one thing for you?
All right. So the way I look at crypto as a whole is Bitcoin again is the tide, right?
Right.
So whenever you see the Bitcoin market fluctuate, if Bitcoin's down, all the altcoins are down. Bitcoin's up, everything tends to rise with it.
Right.
I've been studying this stuff for 6 years straight. I play the markets daily sometimes, and I'm doing, I'm doing the futures market, and it's gambling, but it's not gambling when you actually have been watching. It's like sitting on
When
the
you
beach and
understand.
watching the tide in front of your house for 6 years
Right.
straight.
And just predicting what's going to happen next.
We already know, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like you've seen it happen. You see the clouds in the sky, the storm's coming, it's going to go down. Whenever I see the news and I see what's called FUD, fear, uncertainty, indecisiveness in the news that causes crypto to get real shaky, I already know that the market's probably dipping. Like we saw a lot of it this week,
Yeah.
and Bitcoin shot down to 57,000, 56,000. Like I set a buy at 56,000. I set a buy at 57,000. I set a buy at 54,000. I have separate ones set up, and some of them make more, but my losses are real minimal because if it keeps going, I'm out quick. I don't want to be a part of it.
If it keeps going down, you mean?
I'm looking for a bounce.
Got it.
Yeah. And when you've seen enough bounces, this is what you have to remember. Think like institutions. Now that you have these big players like BlackRock in the game, you think they're not setting buys at every level for those charts?
Right.
And that's the thing about the nerdy investors that they hire. These guys, all they do is read charts. Crypto is not something you should be investing in based on charts. Crypto is something you should be investing in based on long-term value. If I'm a normal person out there, I'm not trying to compete with BlackRock and Fidelity and ETFs. I'm not trying to figure out whether it's going to bottom out, top out, what the top or bottom. I'm just holding on to projects that I know.
It's very interesting.
When I grow up, I'm going to go, thanks Google stock at $100, or thank you Tesla at $50. Yeah, you're going to look back 10 years from now. We don't even know about Tesla stock, by the way. That's a whole nother thing. Like people are always hating on stocks and, certain ones are good or bad. I'm like, dude, the stock market is centralized. There's stuff about the stock market that I know that really scares me about it.
Right.
Like controlling the fluctuation of buys and sells, like coding and stuff that they have on some of these platforms. You can't do that.
So shady.
On a true decentralized exchange, there is no shadiness involved.
Yeah.
If I catch it first, I win. If they do, if they don't, they lose, right? That's what these institutional investors don't like about decentralization.
Let me ask you a question. Is there enough Bitcoin for everyone to have it as a currency?
That's a great question. So there's 8 billion people on this planet. Let's say it even goes down to 6 billion in the future.
Right.
22 million tokens. All right. So if you own, even right now, you buy 0.01, 0.10, that could be life-changing for you in the future Because let's not forget, let's skim off the top.
Right.
The big companies. How many tokens are they allocating?
Oh, so many.
So the real game for the normies is actually a lot less than 22 million. You can't use that number.
Right.
Now, are there good?
What would you say that number is? 10 million, 5 million, 7 million?
I have a feeling that the big money players that aren't in yet, like a lot of people are waiting for a thing that's never going to happen. And this is actually hilarious. They're like, regulations. When are the regulations going to come? But what I said earlier, there is no such thing as regulations. They would have already had them, because even if they put regulations in place, look at China. They banned Bitcoin. Do you know how many miners are still in China? They banned it. They're still there. Hong Kong is part of China. Oh, but it's its own area, so they can have ETFs. They launched ETFs the other day. It did a third of the expected value in 2 years already in a week. Yeah.
That's crazy.
The only reason crypto didn't skyrocket this week, you know what happened? Big money players, all the ETFs went zero inflows, outflows, and sold off part of their, and it wasn't a lot, but it was enough to, they basically did this. They didn't want to crash it too hard, right? But they wanted to take their profits, because as those inflows are coming in from Hong Kong, right? They're going to sell out. And what happens if they're going the same directions at the same speed? It's just going to stay pretty stable. I mean, we saw a little bit of a dip this week. Nothing crazy. I mean, okay, 66 to 59, 58, 56, whatever, man. Who cares? What if Bitcoin's $1 million someday? We're all going to look back at 50, 60,000 and go, God damn it, I should have bought fucking as much as I could.
Right.
The problem with normal Americans now is they don't have 50 or 60,000 to buy a whole Bitcoin. So a lot of people that don't know, and they're not in the know about crypto, you know, only 6% of the world owns crypto. Do you know that?
That's crazy.
That's nothing.
It's nothing.
Nothing. We're talking about the early days. Everyone's saying all the time to me, like, oh, I'm too late. Too late. Too late for what? I bought a meme coin. It went up 300% the other day. Do I like meme coins? Not really, but I caught wind that this one was taken off. There's actually a meme coin called Brett token.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, that's my name. So I'm going to buy $5,000. I'm going to buy a couple thousand in this one. And it went up to like $5,000. I should have sold it. I blew it. But meme coins, for all the people out there that don't understand crypto, they're basically like a mascot. Every blockchain is going to have a mascot. Right. So if you want me to give some people some sauce on some new things to invest in,
let's do it.
Okay. Coinbase started their own blockchain. It's called Base Blockchain.
Okay.
So whenever you go to buy in a wallet or somewhere on an exchange, you're going to be able to change what blockchain that you're buying from. And you have to look up the tokens in the code for the token address. And it's a really long, I think it's 24 digits, like numbers and letters. Right. And you have to paste that into whatever you're buying. And then use whatever tokens you have in your wallet or on the exchange to buy that. So a lot of people go, well, I can't buy that token on Coinbase, right? There's certain tokens you can't get on there.
Right.
Well, there's certain tokens that is on Coinbase's own blockchain you can't even buy on the Coinbase exchange yet.
Wow. So
let's think about this, right? And this is why I talk about this one, because it's the most exciting to me. The biggest exchange, which is centralized, but Coinbase has a decentralized wallet that connects to your main exchange.
Right.
I actually hold a lot of my crypto in there. I put it on a decentralized wallet that they have, the Coinbase wallet. It's mine. I don't have anything attached to it. It's just my wallet, right?
Right.
What's going to happen when they have tokens that are forming on their blockchain that are not yet on their exchange and you're buying them somewhere else on the blockchain?
They're going to have to add it.
They're going to have to add it.
Yeah.
And when all those users
they're losing that money,
finally buy that goes, oh, here's the newest token. It's right on the front homepage. Now exchanging, right?
Yeah.
All these people are going to randomly go, yeah, I'll buy some of that. Oh, you're an early adopter. Congratulations. You're rich. I think that's going to happen.
Wow.
Yep. And it's very new still. So
were you always into trading crypto, or was it something you picked up during AA? Because I can see crypto being an outlet that you can just dive into and not have to focus on your past life.
So all this blends in together for me. when I was sitting on Zoom meetings to have AA meetings, I would meet at 7 in the morning.
Wow.
I met a couple friends, and they introduced me to a couple other people, and they were a part of like this crypto group out of like, it was like one of those MLM type deals.
Got it.
And it was like, but it was cool because it was like, all right, you pay us like $300 a month or whatever, but there's a university.
Was it called, fuck, what was it called?
I don't even remember the name, to be
There's
honest
one
with
that
you.
I'm thinking of.
It was there. A lot of people in Miami were doing it, and yeah,
Yes.
I think you probably.
I was a part of it.
Yeah.
Where you become like top 50, top
Yeah.
100, top 500, or some shit like
Yeah.
that. What was that shit called?
My friend Jason Gonzalez, he's a public speaker in Miami now. He's a big crypto guy. He's a great guy. He got me involved with it, and his girlfriend Kristen at the time, they were my friends. I used to see them out, and so I started attending these courses online with them, and I was trying to do the Forex trading and all that stuff too. It was different things.
Yeah.
Well, then crypto kind of like really hit people. Like, whoa, the bull run happened when they gave out all the checks to people, right? $400 or whatever they gave Americans. All these people bought Dogecoin.
Like 1,200.
Yeah, 1,200.
Yeah,
so people put their whole check into Dogecoin and became millionaires.
Yes.
Crazy.
Insane.
And that's all from a $1,200 cash injection to Americans. What happens if Trump takes over again in 2024 and says, you know what? I'm going to give people blah, 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 or I'm going to get rid of payroll tax or whatever the hell he's going to.
It's like giving that money to Ukraine, give that money to people here.
I have a gut feeling that man is going to come be a hero, but we'll get into that here in a second. But so I was learning every morning before my meeting, I would open the markets, early because crypto's 24/7, 365.
Right.
So I would get in, and I realized if I could get up at 4 a.m, I could catch all the low prices before everyone else woke up and bought them.
Interesting.
This technique still works for me today. I get up, I set a trade.
Early bird gets the worm.
Early bird does get the worm. Because who's the only other markets open? Europe and Asia, right?
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, I've watched YouTube videos of people in Africa, like in like random villages, like, hey, mama, let me see your crypto. And
That's
some old lady,
crazy.
like,
That's
in,
so
in like an
funny.
African village, like showing you her crypto, like
That's
meme
awesome.
tokens. And I'm like, it's so rad. I'm like, yes, I love this. Yeah, but the obsession with crypto really took over for a while for me. Actually, it actually became toxic for me. I got screwed. Some guy in Miami got me.
Really?
Yeah, it got me good, but it taught me so many valuable lessons. He ended
How
up.
did he get you?
He actually just got sentenced recently.
Wow, karma's a bitch,
yeah,
huh?
karma's a bitch. Yeah, but you know what? I'm grateful for it. I never look at things and go, God, I hate that. I never have that.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful because I met a bunch of people that taught me so many things. I was in these WhatsApp rooms and telegrams and just learning from smarter people than me. These nerds, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
nerds. That's what they are. They look at me though, and they're like, hey man, how do I get like you physically?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know, man. You show me how to get like you financially with this crypto stuff.
We'll exchange ideas.
Yeah. We'll be friends forever, man. You come to me anytime. I still like, look back and go, I was so obsessed. It really messed with my relationship at one point. I remember my
Really? That
girlfriend.
bad?
Yeah, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, if I hear about crypto one more time, we're done.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, I was deep in it. But
You have a YouTube channel? You should have done one back then.
you know what? I actually have a project I'm trying to work on right now. A friend of mine took a wallet to $1.3 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And his name's Alex Shalloway. He's a really, really good guy. I met him at the Panthers games. I actually was not like a season ticket holder, but I buy big packs of tickets to the Panthers
Okay.
hockey games. And I always sit in the same seats in the same section. And the people that sit behind me, one of them's my friend Alex. And he, I was telling him about crypto and he goes, oh yeah, I'm a crypto guy too. He's like, look at the R8 I just bought. I'm like, so let me see your wallet, 1.3 million. I'm like, and this guy was working like a regular job. And he started this company called Crypto Consultants Online.
Okay.
And so, I'm promoting it a little bit now because he's actually one of the few people I trust to help people. He only charges people $100 to teach them how to set up a wallet, learn the basics about crypto, and then you can pay him per session to like actually tell you what
That's
to
not bad.
buy.
Yeah, it's honest.
If you're a guy that's like, hey man, I got 10 grand to put into something, and guy's like, hey man, give me $100 and I'll help you do it. Okay. A lot of people are like, hey man, all right, I'll buy a bunch. And then, you give me like a quarter of it or something, I've
Right.
seen people.
Or they'll charge you the 10 grand.
Yeah. And then they'll
Just to teach you.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in helping other people. And if people are already poor, you should probably have prices that reflect who the person you're working with. I'm a big believer in that in my fitness space. I got a guy that's, a billionaire that wants me to help him with his fitness stuff. I
Nice.
straight up told him, I was like, I'm going to charge you $5,000 a month. He's like, why? I thought you're 300 a month because you should help me. I'm helping you. You help me. I know you can help me. Give me but then I have clients that I don't charge anything. I got a guy in El Paso, Texas, sends me the most grateful text messages. He was my client. He's like, I can barely afford $100 right now. I'm like, hey man, don't worry about it. But he sends me messages every day, and he's my number one fan. He goes in.
He'll probably give you the greatest testimonial.
He does. He already has. I mean, he goes
That's awesome.
he goes to Planet Fitness, and the guys play the videos on the screen and watch my videos and stuff. Yeah, they're
Really?
doing a challenge right now at El Paso Planet Fitness, and they're gonna have to do your trainer's workout. And so I sent him like a gnarly workout, like
That's awesome.
3 rounds of just absolute hell body weight workout. Yeah, it's gonna crush them. I'm like, there's no way y'all are gonna survive this one. So it's gonna be pretty funny. But yeah, man, that's so I'm trying to take the fitness thing to the next level. I coach about 15 people online right now.
That's
It's
great.
about the max I can do. I'm really busy with my day-to-day with franchising, but
I bet.
yeah, man, I just this week I've been able to help so many people. I had a guy call me today and just say, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, like, thank you for taking the time to teach me these things and to really help me and my family be on a path now where we can change our
That must
lives."
fill your heart.
That's all I do it for. I'll get a check for $10,000, man. I look at it now, and like before, I was like, yes, I'm gonna book a trip somewhere. I'm gonna do something. I'm like, hey, man, I wonder how much of this money I can afford to like give to someone or do. Like I really do think that way. Like, because I know that wealth is a river.
Oh yeah.
It's not a lake. It's a river.
No, it flows.
It flows, right? When it comes out, the more that pours out, the more that pours in.
Yep.
And I believe in tithing too. Like I was never a man of God. I started to go to church. I'm actually going to a men's Bible study tonight. If you would have told me 10 years ago, hey, on a Friday night, you're going to be with a bunch of guys talking about God, I would have said, fuck you. I'm not doing it.
Going to one on Tuesday.
I'm going to bottle service. I'm going to get some hoes.
Yeah.
That was the old me, right? Let's go to Vixens. No, I'm not doing that. Back in the day, yeah, I was in, but yeah.
What would you say is wrong with America currently, and how would you fix it?
Well, definitely, the disease of liberalism right now and all this stuff going on. I grew up in California. I remember what it was like to be a Californian, and the politics and stuff are normal. We are allowing people to be delusional. This self-perception, this false reality that people are building, like that's again going back to people just being so obese and big, and
Right.
like nobody has told you that what you're doing isn't okay. I'm not praising Lizzo. Fuck that. She's gonna die of heart disease. Yeah. Oh my God, I love her so much.
If her knees and ankles don't break first.
I'm like, dude, God bless her. I have nothing against her,
Yeah.
but like, I don't want my kid someday, a daughter looking up to her and going, I want to be like that.
Right.
No way. I want like Simone Biles, like the
Yes, I know you're talking about.
gymnastics Olympian.
Yes.
Yeah, honey, look up to her. That's who I want you to be like. She's a stud. You know what I mean? Like, and then I think Americans need to really, really think about standing up for ourselves after this election. If we can't continue this spending and putting people in the government who don't look out for the good of the normal people.
Right.
There needs to be men like you and I who say, you know what?
Enough.
I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to school for politics, but maybe a man like me needs to be the one who steps up and actually does something to fix our country. Why are all these people that are always running for politics such like betas?
So are you declaring here today on the Leo Climaco podcast that you're running for Congress?
I actually have been telling people of recent that I'm going to be the governor of Florida someday.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I have tattoos, long hair.
That ain't going to change a thing.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Judge me all you want. Judge me for my past. Every person deserves to have a second chance in life to finally do good. That's why when they bash Trump and they go, well, what he did 25 years ago, I go, shut the fuck up. What did you do when you were a young kid?
Right.
Yeah. Like you never did anything
Like
bad.
you're
You're
perfect.
hey, by the way, let's not forget, I'm a Christian. Jesus died on the cross for our sins. I truly believe that we all can repent and ask for forgiveness. And guess what? If everybody judged you like you judge him, then you would be placed on a pedestal for everyone to mock you. How would you feel?
Right.
When people say, well, I can just tell Andrew Tate is a misogynist. I'm like, oh, really? You know that for a fact? Like they throw out all these stupid words, like, and I never bash on like women for men nowadays, but like, let's make something real clear. As men, we only know what we know. I know that there's a lot of women out there who have it very easy because they're good looking. They don't even know how easy they have it, right?
If they only knew.
If they only knew, right? There's a lot of men out there who have it really bad, really bad. Like even like the Lizzos of the world will still have men clawing for them.
Because she got money.
You're a good looking guy. I'm a good looking guy. I ain't got no one clawing in my inbox. No women. You know what I mean? Like it's a one-way street, man. I think that I would like the world, not just America, to start to wake up to the fact that we need to fix the relationships in our world. I think that women need to encourage men to be men. I think men need to encourage women to be ladylike, and we need to get back to morals and standards. I think that's lost.
Why do you think that so many men are lost, and why so many people, mostly women, fear masculinity and strong men?
Yeah, so that's the internet. We have this pandemic of content being created where people seek problematic situations, like the stuff that comes out of their mouth, to get people to watch what they're putting out there.
Clickbait.
It's all clickbait, man. It's all clickbait.
Clickbait society.
And they'll say what you want to hear in order for you to watch their shit.
To push your fucking buttons.
Mm-hmm. And then again, false reality, right? People actually start to believe this shit.
Yeah. And that boys can be girls and girls can be boys and all this bullshit.
Man, it's so sad to see that kind of stuff happen because there's going to be a lot of damage done to these kids.
And I've seen it multiple times where these fathers lose custody of their kids because they don't want their kids to transition. Mm-hmm. And the court is ordering them to stay away from their kid.
Yeah. I thought it actually, insane. People think we live in the safe haven. It happened here in Florida.
Really?
Yeah, recently. Yeah. Father got sued by the school board or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. Real bad. We are very blessed to have Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
I'm a Trump guy. I love Trump.
Me too.
But I also love Ron DeSantis.
Same.
I don't care what anyone says. I think
he's been great for Florida.
He was a captain of the Yale baseball team right there.
There you
go. I love that guy. But yeah, I think we need to have guys like, especially smart guys who have experience in like, the government or military. We need the real OGs to step up, man. We need people to say, hey, listen, I don't give a fuck what people say. I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let this shit happen anymore. And I don't care who stands in front of me, because if I have to die and that's the footprint I leave on this planet because I was the person that actually stopped people.
So be it.
So be it, man.
Yeah. And it starts with guys like you and me taking a stand,
You have to.
Making our voices heard.
Well, this is why these things like these podcasts, leaders like us, alpha males, if that's what you want to call us.
Right.
Yeah, we want to spread the word. We want to create our own army of people. We want the liberators of the world to stand up, the people who have been sitting in the shadows.
Yes.
We need you to come out and join us. That's why Andrew Tate was so big for a lot of people.
God-loving, fit, strong mentally and physically.
Yeah, you look at like the David Goggins of the world, right? Teaching men to be men. Don't be a bitch.
Stay hard.
Wes Watson, these guys. Hey, motherfucker. The reason you ain't doing it. I love that kind of stuff. I actually joined a coaching program. That's how I started Fick Fitness.
Did you?
Yeah. So my
with West?
No, actually my guys, JW Fit, they're based out of California.
Okay.
Some of them were with West for a little bit, and then they moved over to start their own thing.
Gotcha.
Justin Wenzel, you'll see him all over the internet. He's a badass dude. I love the guy to death. And then he's got a whole team of guys like Scotty Karate and Dane.
Scotty Karate. It's a cool
Karate
name.
Scotty. Yeah. He's the man. Yeah. He lives out of Michigan. They're all from Michigan and California. And now most of them live out in California. But I met these guys when they were first getting their program off the ground. And I believed in them. You know,
You're like, I want some of that.
yeah, I was like, whatever you guys are doing, I want some, right? Some of these guys are coaching like 200-300 people. If I ever leave the franchise space and decide to go on my own, I mean, I got a pretty good thing going for myself. I don't look at myself as a W.
Would you ever? Is that something that's a possibility for you?
1000%.
Yeah. How close are you to making that jump?
That's a tough one, man. I've been really close in other times because there's external things that, you know, I'm not really going to talk about on here that I can't control that have made me second guess things in my life sometimes. And here's the thing, you know, and I look at this like there's either two ways you can go about it. The same thing I tell my clients, you can keep doing the same thing you're doing and stay on that path, or you can grow.
Right.
In order to grow, you got to break the fear of change.
100%. And I'm sure that if you ever left franchising, you could come back.
I could go to any company I wanted to and say, hey, I'd like to come work for you, and they would.
Right.
The problem is I don't want to work for anyone. That's how I've always been.
Yeah.
I've always been born to be a leader and do my own thing and lead by example.
Time to make that jump, my friend.
So I own a couple companies right now. I've got my baseball manufacturing business. We're called Slay Sports. I also have an arm
Show me
guard
the
business.
gloves. Let me see them.
Where are they? They're over
Where
here.
they go?
So I got See You Later. That's my arm guard company. I didn't bring the arm guards, but
cool.
so this is just an example. And then
I think that one's open. That one's opened.
Yeah, and then I've got my my Losers to Lions company. This is like a nonprofit that I'm starting. So this brand is specifically
super cool.
going to be to help guys who are in the program looking to get back on their feet.
That's awesome.
And to become leaders in their communities. That's what this is for.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're gonna take over the globe with that one. But yeah, and then the baseball batting glove stuff. My partner is a guy named Tony Cruz. He played 5 years in the major leagues for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so we both had a vision to be able to help our communities. He's Dominican, so you know,
makes sense.
We want to fly to these countries and be able to go give out a bunch of gear to the kids and stuff. And our buyers and customers are going to be, you know, able to give back. We're going to actually tell them, hey, for every pair you buy, like this is us giving back, and this is happening because of you.
That's awesome.
Like at my church, we do the Dollar Give Club.
Yes.
It's my favorite thing, dude. I get all emotional. I start crying. It's hard to get me to cry, man. But when it comes to helping other people, I'm a sucker, man. I can shed a tear.
Brett, how old are you now?
So I'm 35. I'll be 36 this August. And
where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's your big dream? By 40, where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself?
In 5 years, you know, again, the monetary thing's not a big deal to me. I know it's going to come. Like, it's manifest for me.
Right.
Like, it's happening. Because I'm
just enjoy that journey.
I'm doing the right
keep on
things,
that journey,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, as long as I keep doing the right thing,
pedaling.
I'm blessed. And when I least seek it, it comes. So, you know, I'd like to break the 100 million mark by 40. It's a tough goal, but hey,
it's a good one.
Because I'd like to be able to say I'm a billionaire by 50.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to say that because, you know, money comes by tens, right?
For sure.
You get your first 100,000, that's how you get to $1 million.
Yes.
Right. You get your first $1 million. That's how you get to 100 million or
yes.
10 million. Right. So,
100%.
But it's more about building my empires. And then after building my empires, it's about leaving my mark on this world. I want to be like Walt Disney. That's what I aspire to be.
Okay.
I want to be that guy. I don't want to be, you know, Brett, who is, you know, the son
right.
of Bill and brother of Bryant, you know,
right.
Everybody, you know, bury him in the ground and God bless. You know, we won't talk about him until
he was a good man. He had a good life.
Yeah. Everyone cheers. Here's a beer to Brett. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want it to be like, this guy left a city. It's named after him, you know, an empire. That's how I think, you know, and whether that's a digital empire, physical empire, whatever it is. I'm always thinking, man, my brain never stops. Like, I've been diagnosed with severe anxiety because sometimes my brain doesn't shut off. I'll wake up 5 times in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Sometimes I'm writing things down because I'm dreaming about things. When I was making my new arm guards for baseball, for 2 years I've been developing this arm guard. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out. I had this, this boa like on the snowboard boots where you twist it and it would tighten. And then, but when you went to curl your arm, the metal wires, I couldn't bend them, right? It would stop right here. So I
Makes
couldn't
sense.
hold my bat up here like
Got you.
this. And I was having a dream of me hitting. And it came to me middle of the night. Oh, you got to get these parts to be silicone instead of plastic. So they give a little. And now you've got,
Wow.
I woke up like God was talking to me, like, hey, man, you want the
Through
answer?
a dream. Yeah.
Here you go. Here you go. All the businesses I've started have been like epiphanies. Like, hey, oh, by the way.
What if I did this? What if that?
But it's dreaming but dreams being put into reality is manifesting, right?
For sure.
So, and I always ask people that have started like really successful businesses, I say, I want to hear your story. Tell me your story. How did you do this? How did you do that? I want to be a sponge and just absorb.
Yes.
And
learn.
The number one thing that they tell me is I just took action. When you get an idea, put it in action. That's where franchising is cool, right? There's a blueprint already laid out for people. They come to me and I go, hey, listen, are you a person that does what you say? Yeah. Okay. Half the battle's already over. Are you lazy? No. Okay. Do you believe in a company that's got 500 plus locations already? Yes. Okay. So what else do you need to hear? I can tell you about technologies, operations, training.
Right.
Do you really need to know about all that? It's not about the blueprint we're giving you. It's about you. The people I've seen fail in business, I've started hundreds and hundreds of these things. The number one reason people fail is because they're lazy. They're full of shit. They make excuses so much they believe their own bullshit.
Here's a fun fact for you. The most billionaires were once salespeople.
Yep.
Most billionaires got their skills from selling, from closing.
I believe that because my most successful franchisees all have a background in sales.
Yeah.
I've got people that come
So you're
from
halfway there.
And it's funny, you think sales and marketing go hand in hand. Marketers are not salespeople.
They're not.
At all.
They're very different.
They are. Operations people, even further.
They can work together, but they're very different.
Yeah, no, it takes a special kind of person to be in sales. There's hiring the right people, and that takes talent.
Right.
When you find talent, never let it go. Like if someone's your best sales guy, you can't let them walk away.
Right.
You can't. That's your lifeline, right? That's what's bringing in the money all the time.
Yep.
There's a book I read, How to Get Rich. It was the guy that, I think it was Dennis Maxey or something like that. He was the guy that started Maxim magazine. And he was talking about salespeople and talent. He's like, yeah, I'm not really a sales guy. It's like, but the guys that sold for me, they were the best. He's like, and I never let them go. It's like the only time I ever had to let them go is when they became too expensive for themselves. And that's when I knew they were ready to move on and start their own business.
And go somewhere else.
Yeah. Most salespeople at some point, if they're really good, they're like, why am I still selling for this guy?
Right.
I'm going to do it for myself.
Right.
And that's what's tough.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So if you want to get a great job, here's some advice for you. Be in sales. If you want to learn a trade, you don't need a degree to be a salesperson.
You don't.
I started in car sales.
Yeah.
You know Grant Cardone?
Of course.
I used to watch these videos on this old shitty computer, and it was Grant Cardone doing lot training, how to sell.
Really?
Follow up with customers. Yeah. Cardone U. Yeah, man. And he was like, old school Grant, car suit on, hey. And
you can go sell cars, go sell insurance.
I mean,
whatever.
Or tech.
That too. Software.
Crypto. If crypto's gonna be big and you believe it, what jobs can you do?
Right.
The nerds can code. They can't sell. They can't do operations. They can't do
Speak
marketing.
properly.
You ever heard the saying that a great product with bad marketing goes nowhere? An okay product with great marketing
Yeah.
goes everywhere.
Which is why McDonald's is so popular.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the shittiest food with the best marketing.
Shittiest food. Yeah.
Man, but I love a quarter pounder with cheese, man. If
I love me a double cheeseburger.
only-
It's so bad.
The only other thing that gets me is In-N-Out Burger. You have In-N-Out Burger?
I've had it now before. Yeah.
It's like crack, man.
It's really good.
Like there's nothing like 2 a.m. drunk In-N-Out Burger, like right before closing, and you just get that last burger of the night off the grill and
Yep.
animal style fries. Every time I go to another state that has an In-N-Out Burger, I make it like a mission.
Brett, where can everyone find you? What's your IG, YouTube, website, your course?
Yeah, so my Instagram's at Fick Fitness, like on my hat here, FICK Fitness.
That's your camera right there.
Yep, at Fick Fitness. My website's fickfitness.com if you want to ever, get meal plans, workout guides, supplement help, mindset coaching. I work a lot with individuals and do one-on-one calls with them. You can also find me on TikTok at Fick Fitness. I also have that as well. I will be launching soon here, clothing line. I've got my sports apparel line coming out this year. A lot of big things happening, man. I'm actually very excited for 2024. It's probably going to be the biggest year yet. And, my birthday is August 24th. It's 2024. It kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Lining up.
Yeah, it's all manifest, man. So, but yeah, thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thank you for being on the show, Brett. I am very, very proud of you. I love meeting people who have dug out of the mud and made a success out of themselves, and you have done very, very well.
I appreciate that, Leo, man, and I wish you the most success with your podcast. I see you
man.
going very high up on the podcast charts.
I'm trying, getting there.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you. Guys, I hope you learned a couple of things today. That was very, very, very interesting and very, very knowledgeable. Go click on Brett's links. Go follow him. Check out his course. You will not regret it. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.
This is the Leo Climaco Podcast.